Hey guys, how you doing today? Just walking along Queen Street here, so it might be a bit loud in the background. Sorry about that. Just heading over to a friend's house. Thought I'd do a quick recording. Getting scruffy, eh? Getting scruffy. Hair's getting a little scruffy. Now's a great time to do a remake, a makeover, right? I think I'm gonna do the shaved sides of the head, right? Get my beard back up and running. Yeah. One thing I've come to realize about myself, I don't like stagnation. I don't like looking the same. I don't like constantly thinking the same way. I don't like constantly doing the same thing. And and this is why I don't get tattoos, right? I shouldn't say I don't get tattoos. I completely understand why people want to get a tattoo, and I completely understand all that. But it's not something that I think I'll ever do for myself, because I think, well, it seems a bit permanent, right? It's stagnant. It's going to be what it's going to be forever, and it's never going to be anything but that. Anyway, what's banging around in my head today? I don't know, man. Like, I've been thinking, what am I going to make this video about, you know? Today's video, I think, I finally hit 50 subscribers. That's really exciting. I finally hit 50 subscribers. I've been shooting for that one for a little while now, quietly, just sort of plugging along, doing my thing, and finally I got to 50. That makes me feel good about myself. Saying it out loud. Yeah, 50 people. We did it. We did it. It just, because I've always wanted to do a YouTube channel. I've always wanted to do this stuff. But anytime I start, you know, like the amount of effort I was putting in, because I was trying to do like clean videos with like lots of, you know those videos you see, right? And there's a guy, and he's at a table, and he's like, "Today, citizens of Canada," right? And then like a thing comes up, and they actually like show the info as they're talking and all that. Boy, does that actually take a lot of time to do, right? It actually takes a lot of time to actually do all of that kind of stuff to get like a good video out. That's why like people who are creating like long videos with lots of editing and all this kind of stuff, they're only releasing like one video every, I'd say, like at least once a week, but more like once a month for some of these guys. So I tried to start doing that, and I just couldn't make it work, right? Like I couldn't make my work life actually balance with doing that. And so I just started shouting into the can, right? Doing what I'm doing exactly right now, walking down the street, because I spend a lot of my time walking. And instead of just listening to music or watching cartoons or something, right? Why not do this? And it seems to be working. And I seem to be striking a chord with people, you know? And I've been thinking about that. Why am I striking a chord with people? Why is it that the people who are listening, and it seems like a lot of you are commenting, right? A lot of you are commenters. And it seems like there's a lot of us out there who are thinking the way that I'm thinking, but there's nobody around who's actually articulating it. There's nobody around who's willing to actually say what all of us are thinking, right? And when you get into that situation, right, where everyone is kind of thinking the same way, or at least a lot of people are thinking the same way, but they're not connected to anybody. They're not connected to anything. And maybe the people who are immediately around them think they're crazy, right? Maybe you're just surrounded by lots of, you know, rural folk who have bought into the idea that communism is evil and communism is as bad as Nazism. You might as well be a Nazi if you believe in communism. Right? Which, by the way, for the record, I think that if you are equating communism to Nazism, you're either completely illiterate on the subject, like to a terrifying degree, or you're just actively lying, right? Because no, the communists did not stand up and say we should eradicate, like baked in to their ideology. Like baked into the ideology of Nazism is the collection and destruction of the Jews. Communism does not have that. So already, like without going deeper at all, communism, at least in its theory and its ideological backing, is at least attempting to find societal unification, right? It's attempting to unify the society. That's the penultimate goal of communism, to remove classes, to remove these wedge distinctions that exist and create a single entity, which is usually called the workers, right? Where everyone is aligned together and unified together for a singular goal. Nazism doesn't do that. Nazism very much says that there should be a class hierarchy, and that the people who are the minorities of that class hierarchy should be disposed of. So to equate these two together, I think requires a pretty heightened level of illiteracy or outright propaganda and lying. So don't do it. Don't do it, kids. Actually read a book. Actually figure it out. And so I think the reason why, and I'm just like starting, right? I haven't been doing this for that long. And I feel like hitting 50 subscribers tells me that there are a lot of people out there who are interested, but just haven't found a community, haven't found a group of people who are willing to kind of talk about these things the way that I'm willing to talk about them, right? And because it's sort of awkward, right? It's sort of awkward to come out as a communist because you've really got to break through a lot of the propaganda, right? We've lived in a capitalist society, one that's been dominated certainly by a hard right, far right ideology called neoliberalism, which in my view is just fascism rebranded. We've been dominated by that worldview for so long, and it's been able to just squawk out these idiotic propaganda slogans for so long that there is a segment of the population that will never recover, right? They will never come to a point where they will ever let go of the insipid, stupid propaganda that's been squawked at them for 40 years. We will just have to wait for those people to die, right? They're not going to make themselves literate. They're not going to actively attempt to think about these things. They're not actively going to attempt to do any of that. They're going to bob their head and go like, capitalism's the best system in the world, while it collapses again, impoverishes yet another generation of people, you know, enslaves a whole other group of people, commits yet another genocide. Because this is the big thing. And I guess this is the thing I always wanted to talk about in this video, was that, like, yes, people who have claimed to be communists, and perhaps people who have successfully embarked on the quest of communism, have committed atrocities. Absolutely, right? But these atrocities, like, communism cannot cure racism, right? It doesn't have that ability, right? Communism is an economic system. It's an economic structural situation. It can't cure people who are racists, right? Even if communists will say we should have equality in the society, somebody might nod along with that, but if they're a racist, they're a racist. And they can't cure that. Just how it can't cure, like, if you're a sociopath, and you're trying to convince people to give you power, well, the thing to do is to grab hold of an ideology that claims, that wants to be peaceful, that wants to spread benefit around for as many people as possible, that wants to improve the lot of people's lives, right? If you're a sociopath, well, one of the ways forward for sociopaths is to convince people that you're on the side of good and that you're fighting for good things, so that when you actually get in power, so that when people trust you, you can deceive them and begin your murderous rampage. I've never understood why people look at people who are overt, obvious murderers while they're holding up a book or a text or an ideology that tells them to do explicitly exactly the opposite. And yet they don't seem to understand that, oh, someone can be a murderer and a liar. Interesting, right? Meanwhile, the Nazis, they're like, yes, our plan is to eradicate and murder the Jews, and we are doing it. And everyone's just like, well, fascism and communism are the same, I guess. Like, it's such an unnuanced, illiterate, kind of dumb way of thinking about the world around you, that the idea that someone can't grab hold of a text and then lie about it. Like, I mean, we've seen Christians do this forever, right? Does this mean that Christianity as an ideology or as a way of thinking or as a way of viewing the world is illegitimate? I mean, according to the people who are critiquing communism, it is, right? You can point to thousands of people who have used the name of Christ to do all kinds of atrocities, and yet I'm supposed to take it seriously. So you'll have these people who are like Christian apologists defending Christianity, but the second you turn that over to communism, the rules don't apply. It's very interesting how that works. And it's all rooted in propaganda, and it has nothing to do with anything. And this is why I think, like, our generation is going to go through a resurgence of communism. That's almost a guarantee, right? Like, you don't experience the complete and total failures of capitalism, the intentional failures of capitalism. Like, this is the thing, right? The capitalists have always understood, like, they're not dummies, right? They're just liars. And I'm so sick and tired of hearing from apologists that say that, oh, you know, why don't attribute to malice that which can be explained by stupidity. I'm over that. At this stage in the game, at this moment, in this time, if you're still defending capitalism, it's because you're a malicious sociopath, like Kevin O'Leary is, for sure. Like, defending capitalism at this point is tantamount to a sociopathic lie. You know capitalism is a failure. You understand that capitalism is a failure. You don't have any actual defenders of capitalism left that can mount a decent defense against the weakest communists you can find. This is one thing, man. Like, I think about Jordan Peterson. When Jordan Peterson went up against, I could never pronounce this guy's name. It's an abomination, and I'm so sorry. Svizek. That's brutal. I'm so sorry. I actually am. That's really bad. But Jordan Peterson goes up against a Marxist, right? Who has become popular on YouTube, the way that Jordan Peterson became popular on YouTube. And this guy's like the softest Marxist I've ever seen in my life. He's like, I've listened to plenty of Marxists, and this guy's like just super soft serve, just super, like, he's like a cuddly little teddy bear. He even talks with a little lisp, and he's got a Russian accent, and I was Scottish, but whatever. He's got an accent and a lisp, and he's like this big fellow, kind of roly-poly, big beard, right? Like, he just seems like a nice little cuddly teddy bear. And this guy rolls over Peterson, right? Peterson ends up walking out of that looking dumb. He looks dumb walking out of that. And that's like the lowest level possible communist or Marxist or whatever you'd like that he can find, right? Because capitalists can't actually have an intelligent debate against Marxists. They can't actually have an intelligent debate against communists generally, because capitalism requires a complete delusional state. You can't actually operate in honesty while simultaneously being a capitalist. It's just not possible. Because if you were to acknowledge and act in honesty that, okay, so capitalism is a system that requires the genocide and enslavement of entire populations of people, as well as the theft of resources in order to prop itself up until it can no longer do those things, and then it collapses, right? That's what capitalism is. And if you were to actually acknowledge that, you would either A, be a complete and total sociopath, right? Saying like, yeah, this is fine. Let's just enslave an entire people, destroy an entire other group of people, commit complete total resource theft against another group of people, and then lie and claim that we're a peaceful people who improve. We're the greatest society that's ever lived, right? USA, 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 right? Meanwhile, you're dropping nuclear bombs on defenseless civilian targets. So you're either a complete and total sociopath, or you can't be a capitalist anymore, right? Or you go, oh shit, like, capitalism requires enslavement and genocide and theft to propagate itself. It can't exist in any other format. It literally cannot exist without these things. That is what it is. And if we wanted to stop it, we would stop being capitalists. So I get very frustrated, but I understand why people are tentative to stand up and say these things, right? That's why I'm so proud of the fact that I've got this YouTube channel now with 50 subscribers. 50. It's a low number, but it's a good solid number. It's a good round number, 50. And it makes me believe that soon I'll have 100, right? And soon I'll have 200, and soon I'll have 400, and soon I'll have 1,000, you know? And I believe that I can do that, and I believe that I can be on that trajectory, and I believe that I can go that way, because I believe that there are thousands and thousands and thousands of people who think the way that I think, who have had these thoughts, but have been afraid to articulate them to their friends, families, and neighbors, because the capitalist propaganda and the pushback is so ingrained in the system of death that it's easier for people to simply let it slide and just let it kind of go by, right? People don't want to have this argument with their friends and family. They don't want to they don't want to build a reputation for themselves as being these kinds of people, because when you're isolated, right, being separated from the tribe or standing out from the tribe is the absolute worst thing that can happen to you. And so my hope is that through doing this, I can build a new kind of tribe, one that acknowledges the factual truth that capitalism is a system of death that we have to dismantle or it's going to destroy us. And the trajectory that we should send ourselves on is one of socialism aiming towards communism. That's what I believe. That's what I think lots of people believe. And I got 50 people on this channel, some of whom I hope think the way I think. All right, guys, that's the end of me. Good luck out there. Like, share, subscribe, right? Got to build that user count, right? Share it around. Share it around. I love you all. Good luck.